Kicking. What's going on, everybody? Appreciate everyone who's coming out today. We've got a great guest, someone who I've known for a few years now, someone who created this lovely logo right here. And without further ado, Penna, how you doing, bro?
I'm all good, brother. I'm happy to be here. I'm glad that you invited me on. To be honest with you, I tuned into the last live stream and I was kind of hoping you would invite me on. To be honest with you, I
Yeah,
didn't want to
I
ask you.
see
Didn't want to
you.
be that guy.
I see you getting really involved with the UFC stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the conversation was just flowing, and obviously, TD9 games that you had on.
That's it.
I don't know. I can't remember his full name. Sorry, bro. But yeah, he was massively into it. I thought I was a fan, but he's a super fan. It was so interesting to learn about some of the stuff that I don't really know when it comes to UFC.
Well, it's funny
Yeah,
actually
I love it.
because that wasn't even one of the topics that we were going through. You know, he kept
Yeah,
everything he was talking about. It was, he would nab a UFC thing in there and he goes, "Oh yeah, the same thing happens in UFC." And I was just like to him, I was like, "All right then, well, what's going on with UFC?" And that was it. The whole Wikipedia came out.
yeah,
He's
man. He
obviously the
was
UFC wiki. And then I see a couple of
massively
Penna
into it.
designs in the chat. I was like, "Hang on a second,
You know
Beetlejuice
what?
right now."
When you started talking about Jake Paul and stuff, I just couldn't help myself, man.
Well,
He's
I
he's the
can't help
man of
myself.
controversy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anyone can. Like the guy's a marketing genius, but I couldn't help it. Jake Paul is just one of them guys causes controversy wherever he goes. You have to talk about him.
So yeah, first 10 seconds of the podcast, and Jake Paul, you've already got another shout out.
There we go.
But going on from marketing genius, you're the one who always, when I look at whether it's your Instagram or your website or whatever you're doing for a client, like the way you market it for a client is absolutely amazing. Where did all that come from? Where did it stem from? Your love for design?
My love for design, honestly, it started off really basic, like anyone that probably starts in design, particularly if you're like a self-taught kind of designer like how I am. You start off really basic, and the way that I started off was back in the day. So back in school, I can't remember exactly how old I was, but I can remember exactly what was going off at the time. So Xbox 360 was popping. Everyone that I was at school and I was friends with, each and every day after school, would jump on the 360. We'd jump on Call of Duty World at War. So all of the design stuff that I've took on board nowadays is all like tied into gaming in some way, which is kind of amazing in a way because I'm not that kind of designer anymore, so I've kind of evolved from that. But where it all started was gaming essentially and designing people's YouTube banners. YouTube was a big thing. Obviously, it's massive now, but when it first started off, people wanted YouTube banners. They wanted stuff done for their videos. They were doing kill cams, montages, that sort of thing. And that's where it all stemmed from, is just learning really basic stuff, but mostly for gaming and people's YouTube profiles and things like that.
Yeah, well, I've sort of like, I've sort of seen the way you've pioneered from doing the free stuff because you loved it, and then straight away there wasn't any in between. I knew you from doing stuff graphically for gamers and for their content, and out of nowhere, boom, right? Yeah, I've got this business opportunity that came through, and I see the way you plan stuff and the way
Mm.
that you're setting out everything. I'm a designer as well, and not saying that I don't go that hard with it, but God, you have a passion for it. How important is it for you? I guess the main question would be, is is showcasing your work. Like, how important is it for you and your client to be on the same page?
It's absolutely important, not just to make sure that you and the client are on the same page, but obviously to just market your work. And when you're showcasing your work and just putting it out there, it kind of markets itself, which is why I try and be consistent with it. One of the good things about being a designer as well is when you do have stuff to show, you can just recycle that for so many different platforms. So I post to Pinterest, Instagram, Twitter, Dribble, Behance, all these different platforms, essentially just using one piece of content. So, like I've said to you before, when you're putting stuff out there and it's consistent, people kind of can't ignore you because you're constantly just in their face.
I can't lie
Um,
to you, mate. That's the moral that I've been going through. Like this thing that you've said to me, they can't ignore you if
yeah.
you're always in their face. And I say it to a lot of people now, with my company. And that all started off with you as well. And you're so humble about it. You're just like, Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, thanks for the, you know, the love and all this sort of thing. I'm like, bro, I can't stop thanking you for this. But yeah,
Well, the thing is, I can't take any credit for that because although I might like plant a seed in your head, it's up to you to put it into fruition and start like putting the wheels in motion. Like, and that's why I guess I'm kind of humble about it in that sense because I can only give you an idea and you can either take it or leave it. And that's kind of what I try to do with my Twitter page a lot of the time. Put stuff out there. And it's up to you to take it, you know, however you interpret it and try and put it into motion. And you're in control of that. I have no control over that whatsoever. So the credit should all go to you, but I mean, I'll take the
so you
credit for
say
the
it with a smile
idea.
on your face, and you're just like, you know, you're waiting for me to say the right
Because it
words.
makes me happy. It makes me happy knowing that I've been able to kind of plant a seed in your head, sort of thing,
Well, if you saw
and
me
being
right
able to
now, I've got the
motivate
hat
you.
on, I've got the hoodie on, and I've always got a pen. If you guys ever see me in my podcast, I've always got a pen for some reason. I don't know where it comes from or what it's needed for. I've got a pen. If you guys don't see that there, it's even got little Vandal threads on the pen as well. So it goes to
There you go.
show,
It
you know, whether or not
makes you
I
look
don't know if I like the
professional.
logo. I think it's the fact that Penna did it. I think I'm just that big of a fan of Penna.
Not what's funny as well is obviously you didn't ask me to do it, and I didn't tell you I was doing it either. What made me want to do it was that I saw you was doing something big. I saw you was motivated. I saw you wanted to do something which is going to be changing a lot of people's lives, and I thought I want to help him out. I want to be a part of that in some way. So I sat there, and the idea just came to me straight away. I'm going to design it this way. I'm going to surprise him with it. And then, yeah, things just kind of turned out the way that they did. But I am glad that you liked it.
Oh mate, I love it. Honestly, a lot of people. That's why I wanted to. When starting the business, I wanted to have this like multi niche going on because I didn't want to just attract to one sort of like alleyway of audience of people.
Yeah,
But it
absolutely.
always, with sales, it always came back to the logo. And I think it works perfectly with the fitness thing. And the thing about what you said about keeping it secret is that you recorded your process as well. And you was just like, right, I just got a YouTube video out. And I'm sitting there, my arms folded, and I was like, this guy
Yeah,
right
yeah.
here, you know, you went so hard with it with the colors and everything just turned out perfect. But yeah,
Well, the thing, yeah, I had an idea for it. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to surprise him with it. And yeah, I mean, you was really happy with it, and that made me just over the moon with how you responded with it, to be honest.
but yeah, you've come a long way, man. You've come a long way, and that's just from me seeing only a small portion of your life. Now you said that you know, you did it from the 360 days. Was there anything? Was you
Yeah.
doing any art or anything like that in school? Because I see you say you're not an artist, but I've seen you draw on like this dotted paper, and then you bring that vision to life. That must be absolutely amazing. Like the feeling must be amazing.
Do you know what? I never classed myself as an artist because when I was back when in school, when I was doing art or anything like that, I was terrible at it, man. So bad at it. So I'd never class myself as an artist because I guess I don't see myself in that light. But obviously with design, there is a certain aspect to it which you've got to be artistic and you've got to be creative. But back in school, this is why things for me just kind of fell into place. Back in school, when I was doing stuff, it was never like, okay, one day I'm going to be a designer. I never thought that. It just kind of fell into place how everything kind of worked out. And in school, there was never like when you got to pick your GCSEs and things like that, there was never like, oh yeah, graphic designer or anything like that. It was like the subjects that I picked, which you would never think is I picked food. I can't cook, so I don't know
Wow,
why I did that.
food.
Right, food. Yeah, I picked food mainly because one of my mates was in the class, and what did he do a week later? He jumped out of that rapid because it was boring. So we did that, and then there was like a kind of design sort of GCSE that I picked, but it was called IT. But the first ever software that I jumped on was Fireworks, Adobe Fireworks, I
Yeah.
think it was, and that was because basically one of the GCSEs that I had was IT, and you had to design like a Olympic like vests and medals and stuff like it. It was random as out, but yeah, I mean, from school didn't really play much of a role into it. It was all gaming related, and the fact that YouTube existed was purely down to why I'm a designer today because I learned everything that I know from YouTube videos, which is amazing that was kind of brought up in
Yeah,
that
of
era.
course. Yeah.
But yeah, artist wise. I like the fact that I'm able to sketch things and bring visions to life that way, because a sketch is like just an idea in its most simplest form, but you can get a gist of how to tackle things when you then jump onto Illustrator. And you can kind of gauge the client's reaction as well by showing them the sketches. If they don't like it and they think it's just complete, basically shite, then you can scrap it, you can do something really quickly. And that's kind of why I like sketching as well.
So obviously, you're freelance, and I'm saying all this
Thank
stuff
you.
because I'm freelance as well. Before I did all this company stuff, is staying on target and having deadlines, that sort
Yeah.
of thing. How hard is it for you not to get sidetracked by something and to stay on target? How important is the
Man,
client to you once they've
do you know
commissioned you?
what? The client is everything. I won't be doing it if it wasn't for the clients at the end of the day. They keep the ball rolling. They obviously make sure that I'm getting consistent money come through every month. But at the same time, it is hard to stay on track. What I try to do is build systems that allow me to stay on track a lot easier. So I use project management tools. I use a software that I picked up recently called Millernote, where I can put all my notes together, can put all my mood boards, my sketches, all my concepts in one place. And having that bit of organization just helps me stay on track with everything. And I think that's what I would recommend to other designers as well. If you're struggling to kind of stay on track with stuff, make sure that you're organizing everything. It might help you, it might not, it might hinder your process. But for someone like me, having a bit of organization makes sure that I always know where I've got to basically going forward in the different stages of the project.
Yeah, two things that I wanted to click on there is I just found this new piece. You're always trying to find the best piece of organization, whether it be pen and pad.
Yeah.
Go pick up your VandalLive pens, by the way, and or this new thing called Notion. Have you heard of Notion?
Notion's one of them as well. Do you know what? With you being freelance as well, if there's anyone that's doing like the similar sort of work that I'm doing, you will use all of these different tools. Notion's one of them. I haven't played around with it too much, but with me working with different clients, they kind of get me to jump on like different channels like Slack, Telegram, Notion, all these different things. And it's good to try them out because, like I say, what might work for me might not work for you. So try these different platforms out, see what works, and Notion 100% give it a go because it's one of them ones you can organize it exactly how you want to. It's kind of like Millernote in that sense. You can create custom boards for yourself, you can organize your clients, you can organize your projects. It just makes things a lot easier going forward.
Yeah, because one
But
thing.
on another note as well, when you said pen and paper, you could just organize your stuff as simple as doing that, and that's how I started doing stuff, and it's still what I do today. I've got a pen and
Nothing
pad right in
beats a
front of
pen
me
and
with
pad,
loads
does
of
it?
notes. Exactly. So you can do all this organization with these different softwares and things like that. But I think it's also important to kind of split things down into daily tasks or weekly tasks. Whatever you want to get accomplished, write it down and cross it off. Because it's a little bit of a dopamine rush when
Oh,
you
bro.
when you cross it off and you're like, boom, got that one done. Now on to the next.
Have you
It's
seen
yeah,
Pete? Do you know someone called Peter McKinnon?
I do know Peter McKinnon,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
not
photographer.
personally
He got
obviously,
me
but
into the crossing off the stuff on the pad and paper because he said it doesn't have to be important stuff. You could literally have stuff on there that says like make your bed, you know, simple stuff. Because at the end of the day, you're like, wow, I didn't respect myself enough for doing that. Yeah, it's just making your bed as simple as that. But you've actually got up
yeah,
and done something, and I think a lot of it is not having enough self love for yourself. Because if you get too many people giving you love, it's like a big ego thing. But if you
I
don't have
think
that, then you gotta love yourself.
Yeah, that's a perfect point. I think on top of that as well, it's like a lot of the time we take the smaller tasks for granted, like you said, making your bed and things like that. We don't really think of it because, for the most part, it's a routine thing. But when you get out of that routine and you've not got something to remind you of doing those things, you kind of spiral out of control. So that is a perfect point. Like just writing down basic stuff and not overwhelming yourself with stuff. Because I can see people, they write down a shitload of tasks
Right.
and they're like, how can you possibly get all that done? And when they don't get it done, it has a knock-on effect with the mental health because they think, oh, I'm a failure now, essentially. Like I haven't got all of that done. So you have to be realistic with it in the same sense. And it's like trying to find that balance between getting stuff done and also being realistic with what you can accomplish within a week or a day or whatever it is. And it's something you kind of learn over time. I think it's still something I learn. Obviously, sometimes I'm like, have visions of grandeur. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get 1,000 different things done this week. And it's like, you got to be realistic with it at the same time.
Or even like you say, like a lot of people put really hard hitting stuff on the list, like conquer the world, steal the crown jewels. They put all these
Yeah.
huge things on there, and then they beat themselves up about it because it's you can. I was told this before, but I always butcher it. You can do one big thing and have that little rush, but there's always there's always 5, 10 little things that build up to it that people don't appreciate themselves for or take themselves for granted. There's one big thing is loads of little things just built up.
Absolutely. And that plays into what I was saying before as well, is like, have like an overarching goal that you want, but then try and split that down into like mini tasks that you can kind of chip away at. Because, like you said, with you not paying attention to the smaller things, it all adds up at the end of the day. So if you can keep ticking the boxes, keep on going through the tasks, you just feel a lot better about what you've been able to accomplish, and you can see the whole list of stuff that you've been able to accomplish as well, rather than like a condensed list of maybe 2 or 3 things. When if you actually extracted all the different points from it, it becomes a massive list of stuff that you've done. So I think you've got to really you've got to give yourself props and outline everything that you're
That's
trying to
difficult for a lot
achieve.
of people, isn't it? Because they
It
rely
is.
so heavily on Instagram or Twitter, and that's the next thing I wanted to get to was, do you think a lot of
Okay.
because obviously it's all design based, you know me. I'm always asking you questions. Like I wouldn't speak to you for weeks now. No, I'm like, Penna, what do you think to this?
Yeah.
I value your your feedback because it's real, and you make it realistic to me. You don't just
Mm.
say like the overall scheme of things. You're just like, all right, I know you're like, try this out, do this, and I think that's what a lot of people don't get. They look at these YouTube videos, and the the agenda is based to a bunch of people, like a huge niche. It's not about what you want to do. I think my question is when people like for you excel way more from what I can see in Instagram compared to Twitter.
Absolutely. Yeah, I
So
agree.
when people like yourself, you can sort of like control that inner ego to be like, all right, I'm getting loads of likes on Instagram. Why am I not getting it on Twitter? Do you think a lot of
Mm.
designers are like that? They expect it and they
Um,
value their work off likes.
I think I would agree with the value in work off likes. I don't think necessarily that the people expect it. I think possibly if someone's used to getting a load of likes on one platform rather than the other, then when they do hop onto another one, maybe that expectation is there because they're getting hype on one platform, so they think it's going to carry over to the next. But like you pointed out, I'm quite popular on Instagram, but on Twitter that's not the case. So I think that is very true. And I also think that a lot of the time people do pay far too much attention to Instagram likes or likes in general. And when you do that, it's detrimental to you being consistent with your work, because there was one point, and I'm glad there's like a mixed bag with this, a mixed bag of reactions from
Right.
people. But Instagram actually removed their likes feature. And I think that's a good thing for me personally, because when I was posting stuff, I was constantly looking at the likes, like refreshing the page constantly,
I've
day in,
noticed that
day out.
it says one person's name and it says others.
Exactly. And that's hidden from like public view. So anyone going on your profile can't see the amount of likes that people's got. But the person that's posted it can see the total amount of likes. I think that's a good thing for like public perception, because if, let's say, for example, I'm someone that's just started design and I'm seeing someone that like I aspire to be one day, see they get a shit ton of likes on Instagram, and I'm posting consistently trying to make my way there, but I'm looking at my counter and thinking, why am I not getting it? And then that all builds up in your self-esteem as well, because you think maybe I'm doing something wrong. Like, and a lot of times that isn't the case. You've just got to keep on pushing forward. You just got to keep on being consistent with it. And also, you've just got to be happy with the people that you have got at the time, because it will grow. Like, for example, me, I've grown a little bit over the year, but you've got to be happy with the audience that you've got, and also obviously have goals to grow more. You don't want to be stuck where you are, obviously. But let's say, for example, my following on Instagram is like 1,400 people. It's not massive, but if you put that amount of people in a room, it's a big
Oh
crowd.
yeah.
So, you know, do you know what I mean? Like,
That
if I
is,
was
yeah.
stood, if I was stood on a stage and there's 1,400 people there, it'll be, you'd be like, I would probably crumble personally,
Could
but
you
I'd be
imagine like
looking
just
at
putting your
people.
work up in canvases, like and you're doing your reels, you're just like in front of.
So this is this is my post, guys. I'm gonna tell you
Do
a
you
little bit
guys
about
like
it.
it?
It'd be like a open stage comedy act or something. But yeah, no, it's you just got to put everything into consideration. And the thing that I would say is don't pay attention to the likes because that shouldn't be your motivating factor. The motivating factor should be for you to just put yourself out there and see what turns out, see what it comes out to be. Like I don't put any pressure on myself because I'm a guy that's like as long as I work hard, as long as I put my stuff out there and I let people know that I'm actually here, whatever will be, if it's a failure, then that's fine because I know that I've done everything that I could to make it a success. And the same goes if it's a success. Like, so be it. It is what it is. And that's kind of how I live my like social media life is try and stay consistent with it. Don't put too much pressure on myself. If I skip a day or skip 2 days, it's like, well, I've got other stuff to work on. So it is what it is. I try just not to put too much pressure on my back because it will make it a chore at the end of the day. It will make it so you don't want to post. And with everything that you're doing, it should be fun, it should be enjoyable, or eventually you're going to lose that motivation to do whatever it is that you're doing.
So like, see, another thing is, can likes? I keep going on to this because I love this conversation. I've been asked about it as well. Um, can likes help with imposter syndrome?
I think it's one of those temporary fixes, which
Dopamine
is
rush.
go. Yeah, exactly. I think it's one of them temporary fixes, which is why I'm glad, like I say again, that Instagram removed that feature because you then put your focus into something which is essentially a vanity metric. It is how many likes you're getting on a post, which more times than not equates to nothing. Don't get me wrong, when there's a post out there and it's got a lot of likes, it's got a load of retweets, it kind of gets your attention and makes you want to kind of go and see what all the hype is about. So they are valuable in a sense, but as a metric to yourself in terms of you doing well or whatever it may be, it's not something that I really value in that sense. It's like a lot of the time, especially on Instagram, when people are liking your posts, it's not people that are following you. It's just people that are liking you,
Yes, yes,
making
yes.
it so that you check them out
So
essentially,
you
or
don't miss
whatever it
out.
is.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
You got to filter through everything. That's what I always say: is filter through everything. Filter through your comments. If it's genuine comments, when people are engaged with what you're posting, they're providing value to the post, then boom, those are the type of people that you want. When it's people that are commenting like, "Oh, great work, man!" Like thumbs up emoji. It's like you get a ton of those a day, so you got to take it with a grain of salt. And you've got to decide basically what it is that's valuable to you. If it's likes, then so be it. But at some point, I think that that's going to burn out personally. Um, but just decide what it is. If you want more comments, whatever, you got to decide where you want to be and try and set a goal around that, I guess.
I think the obviously the speculation of likes. That's why I brought it up. I think that's quite good of Instagram actually. I thought that was just on my end. I thought it was just messing up. Um,
You've been banned.
yeah, well that's it. I thought and that's the thing. I'm gonna pick up on something you said about not uploading for a couple of days. Like a lot of I say a lot of people. I'm not. I see it. And, I'm in the design world as well, and I see it. People think that they've been forgotten about, or that's it. A big word as well is the algorithm,
Yeah.
because there's posting at certain times of the day, and there's hashtags as well. If you want to be seen and you want to take it to the next level, how important is it to try and follow this algorithm, or try add in hashtags, just going that extra mile to make sure your work is being seen in the right way.
I think in terms of discoverability, hashtags, all these different things, making sure you're using the right and appropriate tags, particularly on Instagram, where it's like that's the key thing. It's important, but I think where the focus definitely needs to be more like nailed down or laser focused on is this, just the content that you're making. You know, majority of people that you see online, if they've got a big following, 100% that their focus has been entirely on the content that they're making and for the
Yes.
types of people that they're making it for. Otherwise, there would be no following there. There would be no reason for people to follow them. It's not due to the hashtags, it's not due to anything like that. It's due to the actual content that they're making. I
Natural
could be
good
making
content. Yeah.
exactly, and that's the type of growth that you want when you're doing the type of content that speaks to a particular audience, and those numbers can't start coming in. Those are the type of audiences that you want because they're going to be your biggest fans essentially, rather than relying on hashtags where a lot of the times, like I spoke earlier, people follow hashtags, just follow people for follow or like for like. It's not the sort of engagement that you even want. So hashtags are important, don't get me wrong. It makes it so that you see into new audiences, and there are a lot of people that follow hashtags, particularly for like niche posts or whatever it is. But I wouldn't rely on them 100%. I think the focus needs to be on like what sort of content you're making, and that's pretty much what it boils down to. For me personally, is make sure that your content is focused and is providing some sort of value to people.
See, I mean, guys, that's why I wanted this gentleman on. Is his insight into this world is not even when you're just a designer. Um, a lot of people just think, oh, that's cool art. Go on to the next thing. Oh, that's dope art. Whether it be a logo, whether it be a painting or anything, it's stimuli at the end of the day. It could be a TikTok, and I know you've gone into the world of TikTok now.
Yeah,
Have
I've
you
dabbled a bit.
tried all three of them? Have you tried the Reels, the TikTok, and the YouTube Shorts?
The only one that I haven't tried is YouTube Shorts because, like, everyone that knows that subscribed to me on YouTube, like, my content is like, the schedule for that is non-existent at the moment.
There's
I
not a
am trying
priority.
to pick up the piece. It's the thing is, it isn't a priority because there's so many different moving pieces at the moment. But in the long run, I would like to at least have one video out a week, and we're working towards that, but hopefully we can make that happen this year. Anyway, the shorts is not something that I've jumped into. I can see the value in it, obviously, just shorter content, more digestible content, and you can, in the same sense, kind of recycle your content in a way for shorts. I've jumped into TikTok, I've jumped into Reels. They're both like the same sort of format. I think you have a longer time to use on TikTok, which is why it's a little bit better to use compared to Reels. But again, I recycle my content, so whatever I use for Instagram Reels, that goes straight onto TikTok, and they've got completely different audiences. Maybe a lot of your following on Instagram is on TikTok, but you've got more chance of reaching a different audience through using these different platforms. And if you're making a 30 or a 60-second reel for Instagram, you might as well use it for TikTok as well. That's my personal opinion. I think if you can recycle your content and put it onto these different platforms, then there's real no harm in doing that, personally, anyway.
So, yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you because you're not only reaching out to one platform, especially if you want to be taking it seriously. And I keep saying that, I keep bringing it up if you want to take it seriously, if you want to take it seriously. Because at the end of the day, you're selling a product, and you're a
Mm.
brand and you're trying to take it to the next level. And a lot of people are like, oh, why don't, it's the metaphor that I put it into is a lot of people's, I say a lot of people, but a lot of designers are like, okay, why am I not blowing up? Why am I blowing up? Are the same people who ask why they don't win the lottery when they don't buy a ticket.
Yeah, exactly.
you know,
You, that is a perfect quote. Like you've got to be in it to win it, and if you're not in it, you ain't gonna win jack shit, are you? So you've got to be in it. And in a sense, it is like buying a lottery ticket. You just got to put content out there. Maybe one day you'll pop off. Do you know what? For a lot of people, what I've noticed is people that are consistent with content, a lot of the time it's maybe one or two, let's say you're a video creator or something like that. It's maybe one or two videos out of the bunch that you've created that pop off. And then from there, that's when you grow your audience. So you've just got to think like long term where it could take you.
and
You
it could be a
might
great
have
motivation for a lot of people as well because they think, oh
exactly.
God, if my video can get 5,000, 10,000 views, I did that. I did that. What else can I do?
Exactly, 100%. Like I say, you just got to be consistent with it. It's like with my channel, for example, like majority of them below 100 views. There's maybe one of them that's hitting that 500 mark, which to me is a lot of views. I've got like 70 subscribers, so I see that, and that is a motivating factor to me, knowing that, yeah, maybe a lot of them aren't getting that many views or the views that I anticipate them to get, but you've got that one which is like an outlier, which is kind of motivating me to make more in a sense. So yeah, it's like just be consistent with it at the end of the day.
Do you
You
think
don't
a
know
lot?
where it's going to head.
Do you think a lot of people get it twisted? Sorry, interrupting you. Do you think a lot of people get
Oh,
it
good.
twisted between creating content and creating a business? Because you have all these things on Instagram like the business analytics, and as soon as people go on there, like, oh yeah, let's make some money, instead of being like, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm funny, let's make some content.
I think that's part of the problem as well. People get like over infatuated with the money aspect of it, and that becomes their main focus, which, isn't a problem. We've all got to make money at the end of the day. But again, for a lot of content creators and the big ones that, have got millions of subscribers or whatever it is, they all started off with no real anticipation of it making any money. They just made the content because they love doing it. And I think that's what you've got to do. The money might come later or it might not, but you've got to make sure that your love and your passion is in whatever you're trying to create. Otherwise, the money's never ever going to be there, unless you're like some clickbaity guy where you're making videos where the titles are like nothing to do with the videos and like stuff like that, or you're there in the thumbnail like
Cheers for that. That's the
just.
thumbnail for later, actually. So cheers for that.
I knew that was a mistake, man. I shouldn't have done that. Uh,
But yeah, it's basically what I said earlier. Instead of doing that, having that one big thing happening, that's your million view video that just pops off. You gotta have those 5, 10 little things that lead up to that, and that's your consistency, your branding, letting people know that you're serious. Because I've noticed that in my business, I've learned so much being owner of a clothing brand. People are like deer. You can't push too much onto them because they'll get scared and run away. But at the same time, you got to offer them little things every single day. I've noticed that it's so, being a business, you got to take it that extra mile, uploading every single day. So it's like putting your hand of seeds. You got a hand full of seeds, and you got to like trail them in the right direction. You got to let them know that, okay, this isn't just a one-off phase. I've noticed, and there's another clothing brand who is saying, I am real, by the way. This is like an actual brand. It's not just me releasing a design on a t-shirt and saying, there you go, that's a good day. You just got to let people know, all right, okay, it's winter, they're still here. Oh, it's spring, they're still here. And I think that's the main thing, is getting people's trust, because I've noticed this is a hard business to get into, because it's good because everyone wears clothes, but it's bad because it's so easy and a million other people can do it. You just got to show your uniqueness and your difference
yeah.
between a lot of brands.
Do you know what? I think that ties into design work as well. I think for a lot of people, designing, don't get me wrong, it's a skill and all of that, but it can be very easy. It can be very easy to sell what it is that you're doing. And I think where people make it complicated, which is where you've got your focus on, is they don't really focus on the experience that they're providing to people. They don't really like put in the work to kind of
Build a
differentiate
relationship.
themselves in the market or build a relationship. Yeah, they don't try and talk to the people that they're trying to sell
Give me your
to the
money.
most. Yeah, I mean, you could do it that way. I don't know how that's going to work out for you, but but yeah, they don't bother trying to create a relationship. They just think, yeah, this is what I do. People are going to come flocking to me, and like you said, the market is flooded. The market for designers is flooded. So if you're not doing something differently to either differentiate yourself from other people, or you're not doing something to kind of make the experience more impactful to the people that you're working with, then you're really going to struggle.
It's speed as
It's not,
well. A lot of people want
yeah,
quick, cheap stuff, and it sucks, man. Because I'll have someone ready to design with me, and they're like, "Oh no, my buddy's just done it for me for free." I'm just like, "Oh man," and I'm like, "All right,
do you know what it
it's probably
is?
dope." And I look at it,
It,
and I'm like, "All right, I see why it's free now."
yeah, yeah. And that's the thing as well, that so those are obviously the types of people that you don't want to work with. You want to work with the people that value what you do. And when you do give them a price for stuff, there's no question. They want to hire you. They're already gassed to work with you. And like, I'm not saying throw whatever price at them, you got to be reasonable. But whatever price you do give them, they're going to be like, okay, like, let's get to work. And those are the type of people that you want to work with. A lot of the time when you get people come to you and they're like, okay, yeah, we want to work for free, or we've gone to we could get that done at Fiverr or whatever it is. It's like,
Fiverr.
Okay, well,
Hmm.
my approach is okay, go and do that.
Hold the
Like,
door open
I'm
for 'em.
not exactly. You can't be desperate for clients or anything like that, because the perfect one will come to you, as long as you're not working out of desperation and being like, okay, I'll take this one on for free, maybe it'll lead to something. Or I will work for, I don't know, like $10 a logo or something daft like
Ugh.
that. It's like, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, we've all been there. When I first started off, I was charging peanuts, but you've got to start somewhere.
Well,
I'm not
for
saying
me,
you
it
can
was
start.
free. It was for buddies. They were my
Well,
test,
yeah,
my guinea pigs.
exactly. My guinea pigs as well. Like I said from the start, when I was designing YouTube banners and stuff, that was all free and didn't ask for anything. One, because I didn't feel like I could charge for the work that I was doing,
Oh,
and
you hear
two,
that a lot, don't you?
I didn't think there was any money in it anyway. To be honest, when I was like 13,
Really?
14, I was like, I'd had no idea. I was so ignorant to everything. Like I just jumped into designing because I thought it was cool to just do random shit on Photoshop, basically. But obviously, it developed into something that I know that I can sell now. But yeah, like I was saying, you've just when you're at a position in your career where you feel like you could start charging some money, make sure that you're not working with the wrong people, and make sure that you're turning down projects as well, which sounds kind of counterintuitive because you want to be making money. And if you think of it like people coming to you and you're turning it down, well, you're going to think, okay, I'm not going to make any money. But the fact of the matter is, you need to be getting in the right clients and not just everyone that's coming your way. When you get the right clients, you get paid what you want to get paid, you get to work on what you want to get to work on, and everything's just sunshine and rainbows, which is how it should be.
Well, it's also your ability to, because a lot of people just take jobs purely because it's like, it's a job, and then when they tell them like, okay, can you do this, and you're like, sure,
Mm,
sure,
yeah,
I'll learn to do that really quick,
yeah, I learned it
and
on the job. But that, to be honest, there's nothing wrong with doing that as well. Like I say, it's all you got to do it from stages. Like one, you got to take into account how experienced you are as a designer. Even when I first started freelancing, which was like maybe 3 or 4 years ago now, when I first started, I was taking on all types of work, which is not a problem because when you're first starting off, you need the money and you also need the experience. And then from there, what that allowed me to do is niche down into what I work on now, which is logo design and brand identity. So through all the projects that I took on, it allowed me to see what I enjoyed the most, what I could kind of, niche down into, what I was the best at. And without taking on all types of projects, I wouldn't have been able to do that. So, like, if you've got no idea of what path you want to go down, or you're in a position where you just want to make a little bit of money, like, take on all types of projects. Like, when I first started, I had no experience in Illustrator. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. But I learned on the job. I would take on like flyers and stuff like that. Yeah, I can do that, mate. Bearing in mind, I had no idea. And I would learn on the job essentially. And by the end of it, they would get something that they wanted. And also, I'd pick up a new skill as well. So
okay,
it
yeah,
works out very
okay,
well.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I completely agree with you at that one. I think I was just taking it in a way of don't be desperate, like you were saying.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, don't be desperate. Because as well, people can sense the desperation. 100% they can. So if like you are
It's in their ballpark then.
exactly. And at the end of the day, it should be like a mutual agreement, but you're putting the terms out there. Whether they want to agree to it or not is totally up to them. Don't force them into anything, of course, but you want it to be on your terms as much as possible so that you know basically that you're working to how you want to work essentially, and you're getting what you want from the agreement, and so are they. But it's got to be mutual, of course.
But yeah, going on from what I was talking about earlier about, because these are very finely close, like sort of topics, but they all come back to the same thing. We're talking about imposter syndrome and things like that. Is
Yeah.
motivation and being inspired. A lot of people asking me, what do I do for art? How do I, what is inspiration? And I'm a bit blunt with it. I'm a bit, because I'm always thinking and I'm always got that creative buzz, and I just put my pen to pad essentially as a metaphor and just let it flow. And a lot of people, a lot of designers, a lot of artists, they're sort of just like, what do I do? I've got no inspiration, I've got no motivation, but I really want to do it. Have you
Mm.
ever encountered anything like that before, like with your work?
With my
Not
work,
with people asking you, but more like, do
yeah,
you lose that motivation to carry
yeah,
on?
I think, yeah, definitely, 100%. I think that was, I massively felt the lack of motivation when I first started because although I was taking on all manners of work to kind of improve my skill set, it was like I didn't really know where it was heading. And that had a knock on effect in terms of motivation as well because there was no like end goal for me, like there was no clear path for me. And I think motivation as well is like a very abstract concept. It comes and goes, but you've just got to make sure that you're consistent with what you're doing, and that boils down with everything that you're doing as well. And also, you've got to allow yourself to be free in terms of what you're doing creatively as well, which plays into what you're saying about putting pen to paper. Like, you just got to go with the flow sometimes. And if you're not feeling a particular project or you're having a day where it's like you are massively unmotivated, maybe you just need some time to do something for yourself where you are taking like a moment in the day to do some sketches or
Like a
work on
like a
something
podcast.
which or like a podcast, yeah, just doing
As you can
something for
see, this is
yourself.
what I'm doing on the side to keep me motivated and
There we
inspired.
go. And it all helps, like in this sense, just having a conversation with someone and just chilling out and like having a podcast or whatever it may be, just do something for yourself where you can feel good about that. And then, like I say, motivation comes and goes, but you've got to be consistent in what you're doing. And some days you'll feel more motivated than others. That's just how it is. But playing into the imposter syndrome stuff, you can't you can't discredit what you're doing. You can't think to yourself at any point, okay, I'm not good enough for this or whatever it may be. It's just part and parcel of life. Sometimes you'll have a good day, sometimes you'll have a bad day. You just got to go with the flow. And then, a lot of the time, let's say, for example, I'm having a day where I'm massively unmotivated. That to me is my body or my mind telling me, you're maybe not ready to make a start on this. Because if you do and you push your way through it, it's going to be crap. Or you're not going to be in the right frame of mind to get anything done
I just
productively.
had that
So
written here. Does it show in your work? There
yeah,
you go.
so I'll just have a day off. I'll have a day off and I'll get back to it the next day. I always allow myself to have enough time to work on stuff because I know part way through a project or whatever it may be, I might feel unmotivated or I might be in a state of mind where I'm like, do I really know what I'm doing? And then I've just got to take a day off to snap out of it and be like, of course I know what I'm doing. Otherwise I won't be doing what I'm doing at the moment. I won't be making money from it. I won't be having clients come to me. It's like,
I'm PennaDesign.
exactly. I'm PennaDesign. Like, come on, you got to brush your shoulders off, man. You got to get back to it. Like, you can't be feeling down in the dumps about stuff. You've just got to get back to it. But you've got to give yourself time to breathe at the same time. So if you're not feeling motivated at the moment, take a little bit of time off. Do a podcast with Liam Hall, the one and
There
only.
you go, bro. There you go. But yeah, one thing that I always say to myself: it's a bad day, not a bad life. And
Exactly.
I think that's where a lot of people get confused. Like, that's it. I give up. That's there's a paying clients there waiting, and one of the biggest things for me is the same with my my Twitch subscribers, people who are generally giving you money, and money talks is you're giving them something to rely on. So I've had people come to me saying, all right, I need the brand work doing, regardless if it's for Twitch or their social media. And they're like, yeah, the last guy who did it, they'd give me their at and etc. And be like, all right, yeah, I've been waiting 6 months and I've not even had a reply back. And I'm just like, I feel bad for you because my question to them was, do you feel like everyone's at like that? And they're like, well, it's looking that way because I don't blame them.
Yeah.
You don't leave
It,
someone, you don't leave someone, for 6 to 12 months without even an update,
no.
because it's a trusting as well because some people take like for me I take payment to begin with because for me it was the opposite way around. I did all the work and then they were just like, no, don't want it. And for a lot of people, take payment first, and a lot of clients they don't get their work at the end of it either. I
It
think it's
is.
a bit of a
It,
dangerous world when it comes to that sort of thing.
it is a dangerous world and it does all massively rely on trust as well. So like I completely understand it from,
Both
a
sides,
client's
really.
point of view. Both sides, yeah, exactly. That's why I'm on the same page with you. I always take a deposit up front before I work on anything, just so there's that security in place. If, for example, ends up tits up and the client disappears off the face of the earth. At least I've got a deposit from it. But yeah, I mean, it is a massive trust thing, and you owe it to the person that's investing their money into you, which it is an investment. You need to look at it from that point of view. You owe it to them to fulfill all the basically the requirements that they've set out from the start. It's a mutual agreement. If you don't fulfill whatever it is that you've said that you will, then it just looks so bad on you. It's so unprofessional, and they're not going to come to you again. And one of the big things for me as well, and which is why my focus is heavily on the experience that I provide to people and making sure that they know that they're in a safe place, basically working with me, is that I want to make sure that I'm leaving people knowing that their project's going to get done on time, and that they can then from there tell other people about me, because that's where most of my work comes from, is referrals. And I think people don't really pay enough attention to that. It's like you do a good work for someone, they tell people about their experience with you, that then has a knock-on effect and you get more work coming from that. And it all boils down to making sure that you do what you've basically said that you'd do originally. And like I say, if you're having a bad day, take a day off, but come back to it and make sure that you don't spiral out of control and end up being that guy that takes 6 months, doesn't give the client an update, and then just leaves a bad taste in their mouth to the point where they don't want to work with anyone else. It affects all of us at the end of the day. So, but it affects you most importantly, and whether you're going to get work in the long run. So you need to be taking it so seriously, because it's people's hard-earned money at the end of the day,
Well, it's a
and you're
job.
asking for that. Exactly.
You know,
And it's a job. If you want it to be regular and you want it to get consistent clients in, you need to treat it as if it's a job. If you don't turn up for work for 6 months, the likelihood is that you're not going to have a job after that point. You turn back up into the office and people are going to be like, what the fuck is he doing here? He took 6 months off work. Like, is he all
I
right?
love that analogy.
Same
Yeah,
goes same goes with a client. Like, they're going to be thinking, what have I just hired
signed
this
up
guy
to.
for? Like, what have I signed up for? Like, I've just been waiting 6 months for work and no updates between that time. It's not good, man. It's not good.
But
I
yeah,
get it though. There's two sides of the story. The side of the client who expects stuff, and then the side of the designer who obviously doesn't have either enough experience or is just not in the right frame of mind. And that's what it boils down to. If you're not in the right frame of mind, you can go from having a day off and getting back to it, or on the other side of it, you can burn out and basically fall off the edge of the world and go into like a mental breakdown stage, which I'm assuming is probably what happened for the guy that took 6 months. He probably just was
there's
in
a
that stage
professional
where it's
way of
like,
going around it, though. There's,
yeah, of course
you
there
know,
is. You've got to understand the different mechanics between you and the client. That's what it all boils down to. And if you've put yourself in a position where you're telling someone that they're going to be getting something, well, you need to be making sure that they do it at the end of the day. It's not good enough if you don't.
yeah, a lot of clients at the end of the day, like for me, a branding will take X amount of weeks to finish purely on changes and getting a general idea, because a lot of time people don't know what they want. They don't
Mm,
really care how long it takes. Obviously, it would never take someone like me 6 months, but they don't care as long as you keep in conversation with them, and
exactly.
you're letting them know like what's going on throughout. Um, People are more than happy. But going on from poorly executed ideas and purely executed professionalism in the design world, this is in all these podcasts. I always have something that someone's not going to agree with. I'm going
Yeah,
to talk a
absolutely.
little bit about NFTs. Now, our
Yeah.
Lord and Savior, Young Khan, he's always saying NFTs, no fucking thanks.
Oh man. Yes. Yes. Khan. Big up Khan, man. He's the only person that I've seen that's, and I'm not saying I'm on the fence of this. Like, I don't have a general opinion. I wouldn't get involved with it personally. That's my opinion. And I'm so glad that Khan is like the only guy that I've seen that's talked out against it and been like, I'm not fucking interested. Like, stop trying to force this on me, sort of thing.
Love
Like,
that, yeah.
he gets people asking him, oh, when are you going to release your NFT? And he's like, never. It's not happening. And I love that about him because he's stuck to his guns. Like, he doesn't believe in it and he doesn't care what other people think fit. Go and do what you want to do. That's on your back, but I'm not getting involved with it. And I'm so glad that He's it's so weird because he is like the only person on my feed that is basically saying, I don't want to talk about NFTs. Like, they're not for me. Everywhere else is just like, oh yeah, NFTs, this, that, cryptocurrency, blockchain technology. It's just flooding my Twitter, man.
Well, the thing is, it's
Some
funny
days I'm
because when I was writing down this research about what I wanted to talk to you about, we're both designers, so I'm going to talk about NFTs. And someone posted yesterday on Twitter saying Justin Bieber just paid $440,000 for this picture, and I've just copied and pasted it and uploaded it to Twitter for
yeah,
free.
I've just right clicked and saved it from there. Yeah, that's the thing that I don't really. I mean, I don't understand it. I feel the NFTs make me feel like an old man in his 60s because I look at it and I think, what is the value in this? I don't
It's
understand
a
it.
new thing that had a good idea and a good plot, but was executed really poorly in the fact that no one knows what they are. Basically, um, NFTs are sort of like modern day galleries that you can auction off. But a lot of people, I don't think when they did it was just like, hang on a minute, this person could just screenshot this. This person could
Mm,
just take that. But there is a lot behind it. The NFT is
yeah,
just a cover for it. It's just a fancy way of a stock, or something that you own and that you can, if someone purchases it, you can take royalties from it and etc. It's basically, I to begin with, I was like, yo, dope, I'm an artist. This is dope for the art community. We're getting some
mm,
love. Then it was sort of like it was less and less about the artwork, and it was more about the copy and paste and people taking other people's art, and it was basically a designer's worst nightmare. I thought
yeah.
it'd be really cool to get everyone's art if it was done the right way. Um, less about um, the common decency of the art, more about the fact that people artists can make money from actual selling art. Then yeah, crack on. But a lot of people have been doing stickmen, uh, poorly drawn images, and they've got their 3-year-old to basically throw paint at a wall, compared to like
Yeah,
some of the beautiful artwork that's going for like chump change. And I think that's what put me out of it, is the fact that not enough. The idea was to get artists to be appreciative, but at the end of the day, it just shows that anything can sell as long as Justin Bieber or ASAP Rocky's got their hands on it.
the thing, yeah, I totally agree with you. And the thing that I don't like about it is a lot of NFTs. There's like an exclusivity behind it where
Mm.
it's like a VIP group of people that can only purchase stuff. Like there's loads of bots involved in it, and through little bits of research that I've done, it's like certain NFTs you need to be part of an exclusive Discord community. Sometimes the NFTs only get sold to like influencers and people with basically that make content around it. So there's that exclusivity aspect where it's not widely available to everyone basically. And then also the downside to me is like you see people who make stick men that are selling for shitloads of money, and then you see Joe Blogs down the road who's making a beautiful, masterful art piece that never gets seen, never gets sold. And it's just like there's just two ends of the spectrum. I don't understand why this guy's buying the stick man over the beautiful art piece. And it's like,
Don't get me wrong, I was
for
interested
me,
to begin with. I think a lot of
it's
people were
very
interested.
interesting. Yeah,
But as when the time is, I think because it's, oh man, it, like you say, it's got me in two worlds as well, because I was so interested to begin with, setting it all up, seeing all YouTube videos. But then a lot of people were literally pandering it to me on the plate for why I shouldn't do it. There was this one guy
yeah,
who was like uploading an NFT in like a minute or something, and I'm watching all these videos. I'm not gonna lie, I was interested. Make some money off my artwork, I know the price of my work, easy. But then some guy was just like, "Oh, it don't matter what the art is, just upload it, just so people can get the stimuli they want." And I'm just like, you literally
yeah. I
just went
think
on
that's.
Google, took someone's
Mm,
work that they worked their fucking ass off for, and then just made a buckload of money. And I'm just sort of just like, this is not what we wanted as an
no,
artist
but
group.
that's the thing. That's the thing that I don't like about it.
Scary.
Is just people stealing people's work, selling it for a lot of money. The person who created it's not seeing a penny of that, and that's honestly not to fault behind NFT technology. It's more people
How they
basically using
evolved
it for the
with it.
wrong. Exactly, it's people basically using the platform for the wrong reasons. I think there's a lot of good things when it comes to NFTs, blockchain technology, and cryptocurrency in general. But it goes back to what we spoke about first with there's a lot of information readily available, but being able to digest that information is a totally different story. Like, it isn't explained well at all for the average person. And I think
because you don't have a
that
clue and you're an artist, and
exactly,
you're good with your marketing, and that's obviously it's a marketing tool. And I'm with my art, but I have an averagely okay knowledge about it, but
yeah,
it's been perceived in such a poor way that it's sort of making me uneasy about doing anything like that,
it
because
makes
it's
me
niche.
uneasy as well.
Because it's niche,
Yeah,
people can go, these are bad things that happen in NFTs, and you got the other people like these are the best thing to happen to me, purely because they're making millions, and it's sort of just like that double-edged sword, like you said, is because you have to pay to upload, obviously.
yeah. You pay gas fees when you upload your whatever it is, your JPEGs,
Ooh, that's a
and
word and a
yeah.
half, isn't it? Yeah.
There's
That's it.
all
I'm out,
types of
then. You
fees
said
involved.
JPEG. That's it. All right, that's a
Yeah,
show.
JPEGs. There we go. You got to have your JPEGs and ready. But yeah, no, there's just I'm on the fence, like I say, purely because I'm in the same boat as you. I've got people on one side telling me how great it is, and I've got people on the other side telling me how bad it is, and it's like, in that sense,
Are you scared
I
to
don't
say
really want to
anything?
try it out.
Are you in that thing of scared to say
Yeah,
anything
yeah,
because you're
yeah.
scared of what other people will think of you, sort of thing?
100% I'm in that boat where I'm scared to talk about it or say anything about it, which is like going back.
Because
I'm
people
glad
will
that
shit on you
Khan
for
just
it.
doesn't
Like
care.
that's why I'm talking about
Exactly.
it now. That's why it's such a poor subject to not a poor subject. That's what I mean. That's my brain right there
But,
thinking about it.
but
It's
but people do shit on you because it's going against the grain in a sense. A lot of people don't agree with it, so it's not going against the grain. But the most popular opinion is that NFTs are great, Web 3.0 technology, blockchain, cryptocurrency. That's all people talk about it. So in having a different opinion to that, you do get basically like a lot of people shitting on you. When it's just an opinion at the end of the day, you can do whatever you want to do. I don't
there's
care.
some good parts
Like,
to it. Like there's this one um it sort of like falls into like whether it is artwork or not. But there is one for cancer research where they get the children to draw
yeah,
something, and then they upload it as an NFT, and then all the money goes back into the charity fund. I think that's like a great way of circularizing like what it is. But at the end of the day, is you can't really put a stamp on what is art because it's different in everyone's eyes. Um,
yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, and that's why like I'd say if it doesn't speak to you, which it doesn't speak to me, then maybe you're not the person to kind of jump into it because there's group of die-hard fans of NFTs that just
yeah,
get
my
it,
my
and I
Instagram
think that
DMs are a witness of that.
and I think that's what I'm missing is like I it just doesn't click to me. So therefore I'm not really that interested in it. Like I've looked into it at one point. I even wanted to make my own NFTs, but there's nothing there in my head which is like, yeah, I 100% understand what this thing is. Whereas there's loads of people that do, and good for them. I hope that they continue to dabble into it because it's good that there's a community around it. But I don't know.
It's just the next
It's
phase of
really
content to me, and it's sad. The
yeah. I
next
mean,
niche
I've
that
already
people are
started
jumping on.
seeing. Well, it started off with obviously art NFT and things like that, and it's grown into like people actually selling products as NFTs. So there's different ways that you can actually use it for, which is quite interesting. Um, but we'll see where it takes us.
Elon
I
Musk
mean,
is
if
one
it's
of it. If you buy a stock with Elon Musk over 100,000, he'll ship. He'll get you out into LA and spend a day in the Tesla factory.
well, I didn't know that. Bloody hell,
Yeah, there are
Jesus
loads of
Christ!
people doing it. Like with Justin Bieber, if you go with his stock or go with his coin, his NFTs, and you get VIP tickets to his show. You get
VIP experiences.
Bill Gates as well. It goes on with Microsoft and the Bill Gates Foundation. Loads of rappers are getting into it. If you do this, and you get like your name encrypted into like the CDs and stuff, and uh,
That's the next big thing. Then is what we're gonna have to do. Is I'm gonna make an NFT where you pay me like 100 grand and I give you a tour around Penna's penthouse. That's how it's gonna go.
or you just give me a
So
100 grand.
we just give you 100 grand,
I think
yeah.
if you're super rich, you're just gonna go into stock exchange anyway. I think NFT is just a prettier way of doing it because it's artwork and, well, quote unquote
Yeah.
artwork that people, because the original, there's a Bored Ape, and that's the most That's the
Yeah,
biggest
I
one
know about
out
Bored
there.
Apes.
And the
Mm,
original artist was like, I did this for a friend. Why am I seeing it around anywhere? I'm not getting any royalties for it. What's going on? People have
that's
the
crazy.
original Bored Ape, and they're like, hang on a minute, like, why is there so many different versions of it? I didn't draw any of these. This
Mm,
is my work.
that's mad. I didn't actually know that, to be honest.
Yeah.
I obviously know about Bored Ape, but I didn't know of like the origin story, I guess. But that's crazy
Yeah, he did it
to
for his
think that.
own, and because he didn't know much about it, like me and you, he uploaded it
Mm,
as a single buy, which means there's two options. You go single buy where you can sell like 100 you can sell 100 of them at one price, or you can sell one, but every time it gets sold on, you get royalties from it, like a 20% royalty.
yeah.
And he sold 100 of them, and he was just like, hang on a minute, people could just screenshot this, and they were just selling them because it looked cool. And then they'll start adding like funky teeth, like different helmets, different glasses, different eyes. And it was just like,
Bloody
well,
hell.
that's, is this what art's coming to?
Who knows, maybe in 10 years' time, that is what art's going to be, the NFT world. I don't know.
The
Might
metaverse.
be. The
But
metaverse. Bloody fucking
but yeah,
metaverse. Don't get me
also
started on
you had a big part to do with the going on from this conversation now, and
that.
what is to come to the future. I just had to have a chat about it, if I'm honest. Um, but going
It's
on,
interesting, don't get me wrong. It is
it's
interesting.
interesting, but I don't know enough about it yet.
Me neither.
And maybe that's not my time. But going on from that, obviously you had a big part to do with the Vandal Threads logo, like we said. Vandal Threads is a fitness. We're now niched down to a fitness, activewear, and loungewear. If you haven't already, go buy yourself one of these hoodies today. Absolutely beautiful. Um, so, and I guess what my question is going to be is you're into your fitness as well, aren't you? I've seen you upload to your
Uh,
Instagram. I've seen you like Tour de France on running around like look I just made a perfect circle, on your on your trips and stuff. And so
yeah.
why did you choose to run rather than just go to a gym on a treadmill?
Well, to be honest with you, I first started working out when I was about 18, 17 or 18. I was hitting the gym hard, hitting the weights hard. I'd go to the gym, do swimming afterwards, jump in the sauna, go home, rinse and repeat every single day, 7 days a week. And I did that up until I was about 20. And then it got to a point where I was just bored of that. I would go to different gyms, it would be the same old shit. Like, my interest wasn't in that anymore. And maybe I'll join a gym soon. I don't know. But I think I just exhausted everything that I wanted to put into the gym through like my since I was 17 to like 20 years old. And nowadays, for me, it's less about trying to make myself look good or trying to get big muscles or whatever it is. And it's more about trying to maintain a healthy mindset and a healthy mental health. And that's why I do the running because one, it gets me out and about. And there's a woods not too far away from me, which has loads of places you can basically run around or have a jog around. Sorry, and like I say, it just makes me feel better if I can go for a jog, whether it be like I don't know 1 or 2 times a week. Makes me feel good about myself. I'm getting out of the house where otherwise I'd be sat on my arse all day behind a desk. And yeah, it obviously the health benefits are there as well. Getting fit, maintaining your fitness levels, and yeah, I do it with one of my mates as well. So there's also that social interaction which you don't get all the time when you're working behind your desk.
Yeah, I like that, man. Just so you're saying it has like an impact on maybe like a creativity outlet if you're not
Absolutely.
like you say before when you're lost on inspiration and motivation, go for a jog.
Exactly, and a lot of people say the same thing, which is why when I'm not jogging, I'll be taking Zeus, my dog, for a walk. And it's funny because you don't think when you're out and about in nature or whatever it may be that you're even going to find inspiration or anything like that. But it does have an effect on creativity, 100%, whether that be putting you in a better frame of mind to get to work or just seeing something out in nature, like I say, like a building or the trees or the landscape or the open fields. It does get those creative juices flowing 100%, which is why I like to get out as much as possible rather than be stuck in basically the four walls of your office or your bedroom. It makes a massive change, 100%.
So is that something you'd recommend to people? Not obviously giving them like life lessons or advice, but
Yeah, no, of course not. Of course not. I'd never kind of like force my opinions on someone else. But what I would say is like, if you're someone
try it
like
out.
me or or like you, that's a designer that sits behind the desk a lot during the day. You're not getting much exercise, or you're not getting time away from the desk or outside of your home. Let's say you've got a pet or you haven't got a pet, just go for a walk, go for a jog, just get out and try and do something. Like I say, it can be as simple as just going out for a walk. It does make you feel a lot better and a lot more positive just being out there, taking the fresh air and just seeing what is out there essentially.
Even if it has no
That's what I'd massively.
destination, you can just,
Exactly.
you don't have to
There
have
can
an
be
excuse.
there can be no goal, there can be no excuse. Just say to yourself, all right, it's a nice day, I'm going to go out, I'm going to take like a 30-minute walk or whatever it is, just because I can. And one, like I say, it's good for your health. You're not sat behind your desk all day. At least you're like moving your legs about and moving your joints and making sure that you don't have early arthritis in your knees.
Of course.
um,
Blood clots
and
as well.
it's exactly, these are all things that add up. And health wise, I think it's just good to get out for a walk, get out for a jog, do little things for yourself. It all boils down to just doing things for yourself, because how you feel inside and out is ultimately going to affect your work life as well, and your personal life and relationships between friends, whatever it may be. So also all has a knock-on effect.
I love that, bro. But yeah, time has absolutely flown. I can't believe I just
Well,
looked
time,
over
time,
now, and it's already been
bloody hell,
an hour and 5 minutes.
Jesus.
It just goes to show what can happen when you're on the VandalLive show. VandalLive show.
There we
Oh
go.
god, I'm butchering my own name. But yeah, I appreciate you coming on. You
Oh,
have a massive insight, and I'm always talking to you on WhatsApp and such. But it's nice to have you on. Sharing all of your experience and your wisdom. Do you have any last minute shout outs or what you want to do? Let people know where to find you.
I mean, first and foremost, thank you so much for having me on. I mean, like I say, you didn't have to invite me on, but I appreciate you having me on and just having the opportunity to just basically waffle on for the last hour. But yeah, if anyone wants to find me, simple way that I'd say to find me is just to go to my website, which is penna.design, and then from there, all my socials are there. But apart from that, appreciate you having me on, bro. And yeah, if anyone wants to get involved in the podcast, definitely do it, because this hour has flown by.
Yeah, I just looked over and was like, all right, got to keep. I would love to sit and talk for hours, but I have to keep it to an hour. But yeah,
Yeah.
like I say, if you guys haven't already, go check out PennaDesign, Penna.design, like you just said. Amazing, bro. Thanks so much for coming on. I'm gonna end it here, and I'll be sure to catch you later.
All right, take care, man.
Thank you so much, Penna. All right, guys. Like I say, this is the end of the show. I really do appreciate you guys coming in. If you haven't already, go check out Vandal Threads. This is the show sponsor, vandalthreads.com. And if you're going to use a code for 5% off, VNDL or free 75 for £75. If you're spending £75, get free shipping with code free75, free FREE75. And yeah, be sure to keep up with the socials, Vandalite on everything. And I'll be sure to catch you guys in the next show. Peace.